Salam sejahtera dan bersama saya Reza Zulkafli dan ini Niaga Awan. Kita mulakan dengan perkembangan luar negara. Saham di pasaran Asia dijangka catat peningkatan dalam dagangan pada hari ini mengekori prestasi di Wall Street. Indeks utama di Bursa Amerika terdahulu catatkan peningkatan dalam dagangan pada Khamis selepas jatuh terbesar sejak Oktober pada Rabu. Perhatian pasaran masih tertumpu kepada naik turun mendadak saham GameStop, AMC dan juga saham lain terpilih oleh pelabur runcit. Dalam dagangan Khamis, saham GameStop dan juga saham terpilih lain jatuh mendadak selepas Robinhood dan juga platform lain sekat dagangan. Pada semakan akhir, indeks Dow Jones naik 300 mata, S&P 500 naik 36 mata dan juga Nasdaq naik 66 mata. Dan terdahulu saham GameStop jatuh 44% kepada $193 sesaham pada penutup Khamis. Terkini aplikasi Robinhood dilaporkan benarkan pembelian saham terpilih termasuk GameStop, BlackBerry, AMC dan juga Nokia dengan jumlah terhad. Menurut kenyataan terkini, Robinhood dagangan terhad atau sekatan itu dilakukan untuk melindungi syarikat itu dan juga pelanggannya.
Menurut laporan CNBC, sebelum ini aplikasi Robinhood melarang pembelian saham GameStop oleh pelabur runcit. Saham GameStop dilapor telah meningkat sehingga lebih 1,500% pada 2021 didorong forum Wall Street Bets di Reddit yang bersatu untuk meningkatkan nilai saham berkenaan. Forum tersebut dilapor mempunyai sekitar 3 juta ahli. Dalam masa yang sama, asakan belian berterusan pelabur runcit ini juga akibatkan syarikat dana lindung nilai kerugian sehingga sekitar $5 bilion menurut laporan Market Insider. Pelbagai sumber media lain laporkan kerugian syarikat dana lindung nilai ini mungkin lebih besar. Dana lindung nilai ini bertaruh yang saham GameStop akan jatuh nilainya. Namun taruhan ini dinafikan dengan pelabur runcit yang terus membeli saham ini. Selagi harga saham ini meningkat, taruhan syarikat dana lindung nilai ini akan terus catatan kerugian. Pada awal 2021, saham GameStop diniagakan sekitar $20 sesaham dan pada Khamis ia mencapai tahap tertinggi sekitar $490 ke $500 seunit. GameStop adalah sebuah syarikat menjual permainan video dan barangan elektronik pengguna dengan 5,500 cawangan di serata dunia. Tindakan aplikasi Robinhood menghentikan pembelian saham GameStop sebelum ini dikritik keras oleh ahli politik Amerika. Menurut mereka, tidak adil untuk Robinhood sekat pembelian daripada pelabur runcit ini dan benarkan syarikat dana lindung nilai ini berdagang dengan bebas. Tambah bekas Setiausaha Buruh Amerika Robert Reich, jika Wall Street boleh bertaruh seluruh ekonomi Amerika dan akibatkan krisis 2008, kenapa pelabur runcit tidak diberikan turut serta dalam pasaran bebas Wall Street?
Dan seterusnya, ekonomi Amerika menguncup sebanyak 3.5% pada 2020. Ini adalah penguncupan pertama sejak krisis kewangan 2008 dan terbesar sejak 1946.
Menurut laporan Reuters, hampir kesemua sektor catatkan penguncupan tahun lepas. Perbelanjaan pengguna yang sumbang lebih 2/3 daripada ekonomi Amerika menguncup 3.9% pada tahun lepas. Pada suku keempat ekonomi Amerika, tumbuh 4% berbanding pemulihan yang dicatatkan pada suku ketiga sebanyak 33.4%. Reuters lapor ekonomi Amerika dijangka kembali ke paras sebelum pandemik pada suku kedua tahun ini. Pakar ekonomi turut menjangka ekonomi terbesar dunia itu akan mendapat lonjakan daripada pelan rancangan Presiden Biden bernilai $1.9 trilion dan program vaksinasi. Sementara itu, jumlah pemohon untuk bantuan pengangguran kekal tinggi pada minggu lepas pada 847,000 orang.
Dan untuk melihat kepada angka KDNK Amerika, unjuran KDNK Malaysia oleh IMF dan juga penarafan Malaysia oleh Moody's, kita bersama dengan Ketua Pakar Ekonomi JUI, IQI, Shan Said. Shan, the US consumer spent 3.9% less in 2020 and the economy contracted by 3.5%. What does it take for the world's biggest economy to return to growth this year?
I think most of the consumers in US, they're actually paying off their debts. and they're not contributing to the economy. So when the economy is in the deleveraging mode, you can expect a subpar growth. And consumers are up to the debt so high that I don't expect the US consumer will be spending more, especially in 2021. So I think it was expected. The US consumers are actually deleveraging. They're not contributing to the economy. That's why the economy contracted so much.
And Shan, a lot of numbers are thrown up with regards to the Malaysian GDP, various numbers. IMF has also revised down its numbers from 7.8% to 7% for 2021 for the Malaysia's growth. Tell us more about this.
I think I have shared with you since November onwards. You have seen our newsletter in December and in January. Our GDP forecast for Malaysia in 2021 was based on three variables: policy response, lockdown globally, and number three, consumer spending. Policy response mean how effective the government is in controlling the virus. So it is not just Malaysia, we're looking at other economies as well. Secondly, 50% of the global economy countries were started to lock down from November onwards. Right now, 98 countries are locked down. Pick up New Zealand. New Zealand government have said we will not open borders in 21. Third, consumer spending. Consumer spending will pick up once the MCO ends. So we expected Malaysia's GDP for this year to be trading between 3 and 4%. We never said 7% or 9% or whatever the figures are, other people are saying. So a lot of Malaysian, my press and media friends, when the MCO started this time around, they said, "Are you revising your figures?" I said, "No, at HUI, IQI, we still maintain our stance. Malaysia's GDP for this year, 3 and 4%.
What do you take into account when you look at the GDP outlook? Will it be economic confidence or policy response from the government to the current state of things?
I think for the current scenario, we look at policy response. Yes, Malaysia has been quite effective in controlling this pandemic with this virus. But what about other economies? Look at Europe. Europe is struggling. UK is struggling. USA is struggling. So some of the economies are in a position to control this virus, but most of the economies are struggling. I gave you an example of China, how China came out very strongly by having a very good policy response, and consumers, the people, the masses responded to that very effectively. So I think in the current scenario, policy response is the main variable for governments to look at and for global investors to analyze the economy.
Let's take a look at the current monetary policy decision for January 2021, where Bank Negara Malaysia maintained its status quo. Tell us more about your thoughts on that.
I think that's a very bold call. We thought Bank Negara would reduce by 25 basis points, but I think, in my opinion, Bank Negara wants to gauge the impact of fiscal stimulus. So they maintain a status quo. Again, I think it's a bold call. But going forward, as I said, for this year, Malaysia's monetary policy will meander around 1 and 1.75%.
And Shan, in the first 21 days, emerging markets have witnessed an inflow of about $17 billion. Do you think this momentum will continue for the remaining 3 quarters?
Absolutely, because investors are looking for yield. Investors are looking for governments to spend more money. And investors are looking at consumers, whether consumers have enough money to spend. So that's why I think more and more funds are coming into emerging markets. As you rightly said, in 21 days, emerging markets have got $17 billion. So this momentum will continue for 2021.
And Shan, JP Morgan is quite optimistic about ASEAN equities. What's the main premise for this call?
The premise is very simple. ASEAN has got a population of 630 million people, GDP size of $3 trillion. Consumer confidence is picking up fast, and governments are in total control of the economy. So it's a game of demographics. When companies, they want to expand, consumers, they want to spend, and 40% of the crowd is young crowd of 630 million people. So obviously, when you have young crowd who want to spend money, the governments are in control of the economy. Consumers, global investors, they would like to take position in that region.
And Moody's has reaffirmed Malaysia's local and foreign currency long-term issuer ratings at A3 with a stable outlook. What is the medium-term outlook, Sean?
It validates our position at Juwai IQI, what we have been saying, that Malaysia's macroeconomic fundamentals are strong. They are very much intact. Yes, there are structural issues and hiccups here and there, which can be ironed out by taking all the stakeholders into account. So I think for medium to long term, we are still buoyant on the Malaysian economic outlook.
On that note, thank you very much, Sean. Saya Ketua Pakar Ekonomi Juwai IQI membincangkan berkenaan dengan pelbagai perkara dari KDNK Amerika Syarikat kepada semakan turun IMF dan juga pengekalan penarafan oleh Moody's, dan kita akan berehat seketika kembali selepas ini.